Do not put this down. You have ignored the last 3 signs because you thought they were coincidences. They were not coincidences. You keep waiting for the perfect moment to take the step I have placed in front of you, and you are actively losing the season I prepared while you wait. If you scroll past this message today, you will walk right past the exact harvest you have been praying for. The cost of leaving is too high. I see what happens when the house goes quiet. You look at the clock and let out a heavy breath. You carry a tension in your jaw that never fully leaves. You think nobody notices how hard you are holding everything together, but I notice. My beloved child, I have been watching you rehearse conversations in your head before they even happen. You are tired in a way that sleep does not fix. I am telling you what is moving toward you right now. I have watched this exact pattern happen more times than you have years. You did not stumble upon these words by chance. Nothing brought you to this moment but my hand. I am reaching into the heavy place in your chest while you listen to me. I am not softening this warning because softening it is what let you ignore me the last time. This is the truth. I need you to make a choice before we go any further. I want you to step out of the shadows and claim your place in this room. Tell me you are listening. Type, I am ready to hear it now, and let this place know you are staying. Do it now, so your heart commits to what your ears are about to receive. You are not a spectator here. You are the reason I am speaking. Let me describe a morning you have lived so many times you stopped counting. You sleep the whole night through and still wake up with your chest feeling tight. The sun is barely up, and the pressure is already sitting heavy on your lungs. You stand at the kitchen counter with your cup. You look at the dark screen of your phone and you brace yourself before you even touch it. You are anticipating a demand. You have explained this feeling to yourself so patiently. You have told yourself you are just getting older or losing your edge. You have called yourself lazy in a voice you would never use on a friend. That is not the truth. Exhaustion does not always come from the weight you carry. It often comes from running away from the silence. You use busyness as a shelter from a question you avoid. The noise of the world is not just entertainment for you. It is a wall you build to keep the quiet out. I want to give you something small to do tomorrow morning. When you wake up, do not reach for the screen. Stand still and count to 10. Give me 10 seconds of an uncovered room before you let the world in. That is all I am asking. You will feel the difference immediately. We need to walk into the place you have been avoiding. You are not afraid of hard work. You have never been afraid of putting in the effort. What frightens you is the thought that you might step forward and fail. You worry that if you drop the heavy shield you carry, everyone will see that you do not have it all figured out, and so you wait. You wait for a guarantee that I never promised to give you. Waiting has become your safest hiding place. You stand at the edge of a new chapter and tell yourself you are just being wise. You call it patience when the true word is fear. I know exactly how much energy it takes to stand still while your soul wants to move. It drains you completely. You have spent months preparing for a mountain when I only asked you to take a single step. I am not saying these things to condemn you. I have been in the room on the nights you cried out for clarity. I saw the tears you wiped away before anyone else walked in. You are carrying an expectation of perfection that I never placed on your shoulders. You believe you must have every detail mapped out before you can trust me with the journey. That is a heavy way to live. It is time to look honestly at what the delay is costing you. Every time you push the decision to tomorrow, you give the fear more authority over your life. You let the loud voices of doubt drown out the quiet pull of your destiny. But I am not done with you. I have brought you to this exact moment to dismantle the lie you have been living under. You are far more ready than you believe. You have let the world tell you that hesitation is a sign of weakness. I tell you that hesitation is just a sign that the stakes are high. You care deeply about the outcome. That makes you human, not broken. We are going to take that fear apart today. Stay with me. I am about to show you the mechanism that keeps pulling you backward. The door is standing wide open. I know the thought that is moving through you right now. You are thinking that someone just wrote these words. You wonder if this is truly my voice or just another message on the internet. I am not offended by that thought. I made the part of you that asks it. The caution in you was never a defect because you earned that armor honestly after people promised you things and failed to deliver. It is a heavy armor. A man sold a false cure is no fool for checking the label. He is just being careful. I have no quarrel with careful, so I will not ask you to blindly believe me today. Belief is not the price of entry here. I will ask something smaller of you, and I want you to pay attention to the subtle changes inside your body right now. Notice what happened in your chest. You did not decide to feel that shift. Judge the fruit of this hour. Do not just judge the messenger. If what you hear today makes you gentler in your own house, then you will know exactly what this was. If it makes you more honest, you will know I was speaking. And if it does not, you have lost a few minutes and nothing more. Keep your hard questions. Bring them with you. I have never needed you to be perfectly certain before you take a step toward me. I only need you to stay. There is another thought hiding quietly in the back of your mind. You think this message is beautiful, but it is meant for someone else. You tell yourself your situation is far too complicated for a simple answer. You believe you have made too many mistakes for me to still use you. You think your delay has disqualified you from the great promise. That is another heavy lie. Your story is deeply unique, but the mechanism keeping you stuck is completely ordinary. Let me show you a moment you thought nobody saw. You have a message saved on your phone. You typed it out several days ago. You poured your exact truth into those lines. And then you stopped to read the words back to yourself while a wave of sudden panic rose up in your throat. You locked the screen without hitting send. You did not delete it. You just left it sitting there in the dark. You have done this with more than just a message. You do this with the calling on your life. You get right to the edge of the big decision. You gather the courage to finally make the move. And then you pull back because you tell yourself that the timing is just not right for you yet. You convince yourself you need more research. You say you need to pray longer. You step away from the door. You have built a beautiful fortress out of pure preparation. You read another book. You listen to another teaching. You wait for a sign that is so loud it cannot possibly be ignored. But the sign has already been given to you in a dozen different ways over the past year. You are not waiting for direction anymore. You are waiting for a comfortable guarantee. You want me to promise that the road will not hurt. I will never promise you a road without stones. Look honestly at what you call patience. Patience is a holy thing, but what you are doing is not patience. You are completely stalling. You are watching the calendar turn while you wait for a perfect feeling of absolute readiness to arrive. Readiness has never once arrived first. It always comes in behind the obedience. It never comes before it. You demand the feeling before you take the step. You have carried this heavy caution for a long time. You truly think it keeps you safe, but it is actually keeping you trapped. The very thing you are praying for is sitting on the exact opposite side of the action you refuse to take. You ask me to open a door. I tell you the door is unlocked, but you have to turn the handle. I will not turn the handle for you. Here is what is actually happening inside you. Your mind does not resist the hard work. Your mind resists the terrifying exposure. If you take the step, you will find out what you are truly made of, and you will finally see if you are enough. And that completely terrifies you. So your mind builds a thick fog. It places this fog in front of the door. It calls that fog tomorrow. It tells you tomorrow will be a better day. It is not sabotage. It is a loyal bodyguard who has never been told the war is finally over. Your mind is just trying to protect you from being judged. I am going to name this right now so you can catch it in the act every time it happens. This is the protective delay. It is a brilliant disguise. It wears the clothes of wisdom. It sounds exactly like common sense, but it is a silent thief. It steals your momentum. Once you see the protective delay for what it is, it completely loses its power over your daily choices. It only works when you believe it. You think it is your own wise caution, but I am exposing it today. You are not lacking critical information. You are lacking forward motion. You have everything you need for the first step. You do not need the map for the entire journey. You only need enough light for the next few feet. I am asking you to step into the uncomfortable space while your hands are still shaking from the pressure. Do not wait for the shaking to stop. If you wait for the fear to disappear, you will be waiting forever. The cost of another year here is too high. You know exactly what it costs you. You pay for it in quiet regrets. You watch other people walk past you. They are not smarter than you. They do not have more talent or more faith than you possess right now. But they were willing to take the bold step while they were still completely terrified of what others might say. They moved while they were unsure. You have sat on the sidelines analyzing the wind while they simply built the ship. It hurts to watch them sail. It hurts because you know you should be on the water too. We are going to break this familiar pattern together. I am not leaving you to figure it out alone, but I need your feet to move before the sun goes down on this day I have given you. I need you to step out of the preparation phase. The planning has become a place to hide. Come out of hiding. Let the world see you try. Stumbling is better than standing perfectly still for another decade. Let me show you a familiar scene from your own life. You buy the supplies and you set up the workspace perfectly. You write down the plan with beautiful precision. Everything is completely ready for you to begin the important work. And then you just walk away. You suddenly decide to clean the kitchen instead. You find a random task that could easily wait a week. You find a random task that could easily wait an entire week because the distraction feels much safer than the actual work. You have lived this exact frustrating cycle dozens of times, and every single time, you carry a heavy shame to bed with you. You call yourself a procrastinator. You label yourself as lazy. You tell yourself that you are simply afraid of failing. I want to correct that false story right now. You are not afraid of failing. You know exactly how failure feels and you have survived it multiple times. You are actually terrified of succeeding. If you finally finish the task, you will have to show it to the world. People will look at your work and they will form an opinion about your actual worth. That thought paralyzes you completely. So your mind creates a brilliant defense mechanism to keep you hidden. As long as the work remains unfinished, nobody can judge the final product. You get to stay perfectly safe in the realm of potential. People can only judge what you actually produce. And if you produce nothing, you cannot be rejected. Remember the name I gave this. It is the protective delay. It is not a character flaw. It is a misguided shield. Your mind is trying to protect a very fragile part of your heart from the pain of criticism. But a shield that you never put down eventually becomes a heavy prison. You are locked inside a fortress of your own making, and the air inside that fortress is getting incredibly thin. You are suffocating your own potential. Now look back at all those abandoned projects with me. Look at the half-written letters and the business ideas you never launched. Look at the hard conversations you rehearsed but never actually started. You were not being lazy in those moments. You were fiercely protecting a wound that nobody ever tended to. You chose the safety of silence over the risk of exposure. You chose the safety of silence over the risk of exposure because silence never asks you to prove your worth to a skeptical audience. I saw the hidden panic in your chest every time you tried to start. I watched you retreat. I never once condemned you for stepping back. But I cannot let you stay in the shadows forever. The world desperately needs the thing you are hiding. I am asking you to change your strategy today. I do not want you to promise me a completed masterpiece. I want you to give me 15 minutes of terrible work. Open the document and write the words poorly on purpose. Touch the project with absolutely no intention of doing it well. The fog of delay cannot survive 15 deliberately imperfect minutes. The fog only exists to protect you from being judged. There is nothing to judge in 15 minutes of intentional mess. Set a timer and just begin before you feel ready. Readiness has never once arrived first. It always comes in behind the messy work, and it never comes before it. You have to break the seal of perfectionism to let the actual grace flow in. Type "I drop the shield" today if you are willing to make a mess. Let the physical act of typing be your first step out of the heavy fortress. Your hands need to do something brave while your heart is still catching up. Do not wait for the fear to vanish. The fear will only step aside when it sees you moving forward anyway. Action is the only language that panic truly understands. Remember the heavy wound I just named for you. I want to show you the beautiful life standing on the other side of it. Come with me to a morning very soon. It is an ordinary Tuesday, and the sky is a pale blue. You wake up before the alarm rings. Your feet find the floor without any internal argument. You walk straight to your desk and you sit down. You do not wait for a sudden burst of inspiration to arrive. You simply open your hands and you begin to work. And I want you to notice what is missing from this quiet room. The heavy dread is completely gone. You do not feel the desperate need to escape your own life. You do not reach for your phone to numb the uncomfortable silence. The silence feels like a warm friend. You are no longer managing a constant low-grade anxiety in your stomach. You are just breathing and creating. That peaceful morning is not a distant fantasy. That steady version of you already exists. She is not being assembled somewhere far away out of parts you do not have yet. He is standing right here on the other side of your brave 15 minutes. The distance between you and that beautiful morning is not time, it is permission. And permission is not a magical gift you wait to be handed by someone else. It is a decision you make out loud in a completely empty room. Give yourself permission to be a beginner again today. Make the mess, take the step. The morning I showed you is already walking toward you. Everything I have told you up to this point is completely true. Now I am going to tell you the part that changes what it means. You have spent years believing that you are your own worst enemy, and you thought your lack of focus was the actual problem. We are going to break that heavy assumption right now. The obstacle was never standing between you and the finish line. It was standing between you and a very deep fear. You assumed your recurring failures were proof of a broken character. I am taking that false label away from you today. You are not a self-destructive person. You are a person who has been operating under a set of invisible rules. We need to look at the exact moment you always stop. There is a place in your life you have arrived at more than once. The hard work you poured your heart into was almost finished. The heavy door was finally starting to open. And then something inside you reached out and knocked the entire cup over before you could drink. You went quiet for an entire week and let the rare opportunity die. You picked a small fight over something that did not matter at all. You found a sudden reason to walk away from the very blessing you asked for. Afterward, you sat in the dark and felt deeply ashamed. You had no words for a person who runs from the exact thing they have been begging me for. You decided you are just terribly afraid of failing. You have repeated that false diagnosis so many times that it has worn a deep groove into your mind. My beloved child, look at the actual evidence of your own long history. You are not afraid of failing at all. You know exactly how profound failure feels, and you have miraculously survived it multiple times. Each time you fell down, you got back up. You gathered the broken pieces and you built the house again. You are not afraid of the structure collapsing. You are absolutely terrified of what happens when it finally stands strong. If you succeed, you will step into a bright room where some people simply cannot follow you. You will become someone they do not recognize anymore. Let me show you where that specific fear was born. In the house where you grew up, someone you deeply loved did not rise. Someone set their dreams down and never picked them up again. A child watching that silent struggle learns a strict law that nobody ever says out loud. You learn that you are not permitted to go higher than your family. You absorbed the false idea that to rise would be to leave them behind. To succeed would feel like you were silently accusing them of giving up. So you built a heavy ceiling out of pure devotion. And then you spent 30 long years calling it fear. I name this invisible barrier right now so you can hear it every time you stall again. This is the loyalty ceiling. It is not cowardice at all. It is fierce devotion aimed in the completely wrong direction. It is a profound love that has been weaponized against your own potential. Once a thing is clearly named, it loses the dark authority it borrowed from the shadows. The ceiling is no longer invisible to you today. Look again at the smoking ruins you have been so ashamed of. You did not break those golden opportunities out of weakness. You were fiercely protecting somebody in your past. Every time you stopped just short of the finish line, you were speaking in a language older than words. You were silently saying you would not outgrow the people who raised you. That is not a fatal defect in your character. That is a deeply loyal heart that was never told the actual truth. And here is the plain truth I need you to hear today. Your staying small has never once made them larger. The heavy ceiling has cost you everything, and it has given them absolutely nothing in return. You cannot heal their broken dreams by burying your own beautiful gifts in the cold ground. Their sacrifices were meant to be a solid foundation for your flight. They were never meant to be a heavy anchor tied around your ankles. It is time to release the unspoken debt that you have carried for them. You do not owe anyone your failure. You do not have to confront anyone or explain your profound healing to the world. You only need to have one honest moment with me right now. Say the name of the person you have been staying small for quietly in your heart, and then tell me you are ready to let the false guilt go. I am listening to every whisper. Your rising takes absolutely nothing away from them. Your brilliant light is not withdrawn from their room when you choose to finally shine. I want you to make a public declaration of your sudden freedom today. Type, "I was not weak, I was hiding" in the comments right now. Put your exact name on that truth. The ceiling is broken. You have carried this invisible burden for decades. Breathe deeply and let the heavy realization settle into your tired spirit. You are entirely safe here. Nothing is chasing you, and nothing is demanding a perfect performance from you tonight. I just want you to sit in this new empty space. The truth has finally named the dark shadow. I am not rushing you to the next mountain. We are simply pausing to acknowledge the heavy chain that just fell to the floor. You do not have to figure out tomorrow yet. Just recognize that the person who wakes up in the morning will not be wearing the same chains. I saw every single tear, not one was wasted. I know what rose in your mind when I started speaking today. You have a very specific thought hiding in the quiet corners of your heart. You are thinking that you have asked me for this exact breakthrough for years. You asked in the way you were taught to ask. You pleaded in the dark when nobody else was listening, and the room stayed completely quiet. You feel like I am ignoring you. You have prayed the same prayer so many times that the words have completely lost their heavy weight. You still say the sentences out of habit, but you say them the way a person talks to a neighbor they expect absolutely nothing from. You have quietly accepted the profound silence. I am not going to tell you that the room was not quiet. The silence was profoundly real. You did not imagine the long silence. You also did not deserve it. And no one has the right to explain your deep pain away with a simple religious phrase, especially while you are still actively hurting. You drew a very logical conclusion from my quietness. You concluded that I said no to you. You decided that my silence was a clear rejection. But you have completely misread the quiet season. You convinced yourself that you must have asked incorrectly. You thought you lacked the right amount of faith to unlock the massive blessing. I want to clear that false burden from your shoulders right now. You did not pray wrong. There was no secret arrangement of words that would have magically forced my hand. Anyone who tells you that your technique was flawed is lying to you. I heard every single syllable you whispered in the dark. Not one of those lonely nights went unwitnessed by heaven. I am going to reveal exactly what was happening while you were waiting. Silence and refusal are not the same thing at all. The human heart struggles to tell them apart. So your heart fills the empty quiet with the worst word it knows. You call it rejection. I call it preparation. Between the asking and the arriving, there is massive work being done to make sure you can actually survive the answered prayer. But the work is not being done on the water. The work is being done on the vessel. A massive gift that arrives before your hands are strong enough to hold it is not a mercy. It is a tragedy. I am naming this season today. This is the unfinished yes. It is not a denial of your dream. It is the deep reinforcement of your foundation. This ensures the dream does not crush you when it finally lands in your beautiful life. You thought you were standing in front of a door that was locked against you. You were actually standing in front of a door that was fiercely held. I was holding it. I held that door shut with both of my hands for as long as it took. You stood on the other side, counting the long years. Every year you added to the painful count, you added another chapter to the story of your own unworthiness. But the closed door was never a final verdict on your life, it was a covering. What waited behind that door in those early years would have absolutely destroyed you. It would have arrived to a version of you that had zero capacity to sustain it. The blessing would have eventually taken the very peace you were asking for. So I held the door shut to keep you completely safe, and you naturally called it silence. I let you call it that for a season. There was simply no way to explain a massive covering to someone who was still standing in the freezing rain. Now look back over the long years you have called abandoned. You were not being ignored in those dark valleys. You were being carefully formed. Ask yourself honestly what you can carry today that you could not have carried before the brutal waiting began. You are stronger now. You are wiser. You no longer tolerate the toxic things that used to drain your spirit. None of that brilliant resilience came from your answered prayers. All of it came from the heavy silence you thought was my total rejection. The waiting room was never empty of my presence. I was always standing right there beside you. You just could not see me working. I was working on the one thing you never thought to examine. I was working on you. I will not ask you to force yourself back into that desperate prayer today. I do not want you to perform a fake faith for me. I am asking you to change exactly one word in your heart. When you look at the closed door, stop asking why I did not open it. Start asking what I am doing inside you while we wait. Say it out loud before you go to sleep tonight. Then take a simple piece of paper and write down one way you have grown since the hard waiting began. Only one thing. That page is your undeniable evidence. On the nights the silence gets too loud, you will not have to blindly take my word for it. You will have your own handwriting to prove you were never abandoned. The heavy season of delay is finishing its profound work in you. You are finally becoming the person who can step through the door and actually survive the tremendous blessing I have prepared. Do not rush the final moments of the quiet. The handle is already beginning to turn. I never left. Once you see this truth, you cannot unsee it. And everything that comes after this moment is built entirely on top of it. I have watched this exact process happen 10,000 times. Always the exact same sequence. Always the same brutal silence before the season finally turns. People reach the very edge of their blessing and they panic. They misread the profound quiet as my ultimate rejection. I know exactly how this story goes because I have read it in 1,000 lives before yours. I have never seen it end in permanent defeat. It does not break where you think it will break. It breaks the day someone finally stops carrying the heavy burden completely alone. You have completed the hardest part of the waiting. You survived the brutal stretching of your faith, and now you are standing at the threshold of the massive reward. Do not stop walking now. This is where most people go quiet with relief and simply give up. They see a tiny bit of progress and they settle for it. You are not going to settle for a fraction of what I promised you. The heavy knot is finally loose. Now I will show you what was tied up inside it all along while you waited in the dark. The larger victory is standing right in front of you. Everything I have said until now was just preparation. The long validation and the profound healing were necessary steps, but they were never the final destination. This is the massive thing itself. We are moving from deep comfort into absolute authority. You are finally ready to carry the actual weight of the assignment. You needed me close for that gentle part. For this next part, you need me to be incredibly clear. You just felt something argue back in your mind. A quiet voice is telling you that this is too good to be true. I want you to name that resistance right now. Right, I stop arguing with the noise in the comments today. Let that public declaration end the internal argument forever. You are stepping out of the shadows and taking your life back. The loud noise is not your true voice. Lift your head. What comes next is not just helpful information. It is a holy moment. I have been walking you toward one specific sentence this entire time. The ground has been perfectly prepared. Now I am going to speak directly over it. Breathe deeply once. Then hear me say the beautiful thing I have wanted to say to you since you sat down in that chair. You keep waiting for a feeling of absolute readiness to arrive. You want the fear to completely vanish before you take the step. That is not how courage works. Courage is taking the bold step while your hands are still violently shaking and your mind is screaming at you to run away. I am not going to remove the fear. I am going to make you stronger than the fear. You are already equipped for this battle. You have spent years asking me for a grand calling to arrive, but it has been waiting for you to answer the small thing you already know. You have been avoiding the very step that unlocks the massive provision. The delay is no longer protecting you at all. It is actively costing you the beautiful season I prepared. You refuse to step out of your comfortable boat. You must stop waiting for the perfect weather. Picture the room where the heavy thing you carry is finally set down, not thrown down in anger, set down deliberately because you no longer need it, and picture who is standing in that bright room with you. This is the part you have never let yourself fully imagine. It is not a massive crowd. It is 2 or 3 people who stayed, and they are looking at you with the deep pride you always wanted to see. There is one more thing about that room that I have not told you. I have been holding it back on purpose. It would have meant absolutely nothing to you an hour ago when you were still full of doubt. It has a beautiful name. I will call it the last thing I kept. You will not receive it in the part of this message that sounds like an ending. You will receive it after the ending has already happened. Before we finish our time together, understand something crucial. The most important sentence of this entire hour has not been spoken yet. And it will not be spoken where you normally expect it. It comes after the final blessing, and it comes after the part where you think we are completely done for the day. Do not go anywhere when it sounds like I am closing. That is precisely where the greatest promise lives. I am increasing the pressure right now because you are running out of time to hesitate. The door will not stay open forever while you analyze the hinges. I have given you every confirmation your spirit requires. You are not waiting on me anymore. I am waiting on you to finally move your feet, cross the line that separates your history from your actual destiny. The false agreement ends today. You are going to step through the door even if your heart is pounding out of your chest. I will honor the movement. I always honor the movement of a terrified but willing child. This is your turning point. The old version of you is staying behind in the quiet room, while the new version is stepping directly into the brilliant light. Listen to me where you make your most important decisions. You have hidden in the background for far too long. You thought you were just being patient. You convinced yourself that waiting for a clear sign was the safest choice. But patience that lasts a decade is not patience at all. It is a brilliant strategy for hiding from the calling I placed on your life. I am stripping away that heavy disguise right now. You ignore my gentle nudges because you completely misunderstand them. You consistently mistake your deep fear of exposure for a lack of actual readiness. You tell yourself that you need more time to prepare. You do not need more time. You need the courage to be seen while you are still a beginner. You did not lose your profound faith in the dark. You lost the version of it that had never been truly tested. You did not lose your immense strength. You lost the illusion that your own strength was the thing carrying you. You did not lose me during those quiet years. You only lost the tiny picture of me that was always too small for your destiny. I have watched you stand at the edge of the water so many times. Every time you backed away from your destiny, I saw it. Every time you convinced yourself you were not good enough, I heard it. Every time you chose the comfortable silence over the risky truth, I felt it. None of those moments went unwitnessed, but I will not let you repeat them today. The waiting season is officially over. I am ending the long argument today. You have spent enough years debating your own profound worth in the shadows. I am not softening this message for you. I am ending the debate entirely. You are not late to your own beautiful life. You are not less than the people you constantly admire. Lift your heavy head right now. Hear the plain truth, with absolutely nothing wrapped around it. The delay is no longer protecting you from massive failure. It is actively costing you the brilliant season I perfectly prepared for you. You are paying a massive price for your comfort. The safe harbor has become a suffocating prison. and the air inside that prison is finally running out. And here is what must change before the sun goes down today. You do not need harder physical effort or more intense morning discipline to fix this. You must stop waiting for a perfect moment of total confidence. Confidence does not come to the people who wait. It comes to the people who take action while their hands are still violently shaking. I am not saying this to a massive crowd today. I am saying this directly to the one who always puts everyone else first. I am speaking to the one who answers for everyone else. You keep a busy house that rarely says thank you. That is exactly who this message is for. That is who I have been speaking to since the very first word of this hour. The profound preparation is completely finished. The long stretching in the dark valley has done its necessary work inside your heavy heart. You finally have enough quiet wisdom to begin the journey. You have enough light to take the very first step. If you wait for the entire staircase to be illuminated, you will simply fade away on the exact same bottom step. Your profound fear is completely normal. I never asked you to be fearless. I only ever asked you to be faithful with what you have. Faith is simply moving forward while the deep fear is still sitting right next to you. You just cannot let the fear drive the vehicle anymore. You must take the wheel back today. The beautiful destination is waiting just out of your immediate sight. This is the exact moment the heavy chain breaks. I declare it absolutely broken over your life right now. The old agreement ends today. The false narrative you accepted about your own limitations is officially revoked. You are stepping into the wide open space. You will no longer apologize for occupying room in the world. You will simply occupy it with boldness. Say it with me right now in the quiet room. I am not late. Say it again. I want you to say it slowly enough that some deep part of you has to finally agree with it. You have spent years apologizing for the length of a season you did not design. That endless apology is finished now. I am the one finishing it. You are walking into the promised harvest. Look at me. Listen to my voice. Step through the door. I am giving you the final command to move forward into your new season. Do not overthink the mechanics of the next phase. Do not build another complicated spreadsheet to delay the inevitable action. Just move your feet. The ground will rise up to meet you the second you commit your weight to the empty space. The heavy season of silence is completely broken. I am speaking loud and clear to your tired spirit. I am telling you that the days of hiding behind endless preparation are officially behind you. You are walking into the execution phase today. You will take the first step while still afraid. You will build the beautiful thing I showed you in the dark. The waiting room is completely empty now. Hear this clearly before you go. There is a profound cost to spending another year inside the exact same arrangement you have been living in. Nobody will ever send you a physical invoice for this hidden cost. It is paid very quietly in the things you slowly stop expecting. I am not warning you about an angry enemy tonight. I am warning you about a very comfortable habit. If you close this message and go back to your safe preparations, you will lose the powerful momentum of this holy hour. You will wake up tomorrow morning and run the exact same anxious routine. You will stand at the same kitchen window and rehearse the same excuses for why you cannot begin. You will watch the calendar turn. You will feel the exact same heavy knot in your stomach. You will attend the same gatherings and smile the same tired smile. You will secretly wonder where your beautiful life went. You will spend the next 12 months asking me for the exact opportunity that was sitting right in front of you today. And you left it sitting there because you wanted a safe guarantee. That is the absolute tragedy of a life spent perpetually getting ready. You never actually get to live the magnificent life I designed for you. You tell yourself that waiting is a harmless choice. Waiting is never harmless when the door has already been kicked wide open. It slowly drains your spirit. It shrinks your beautiful capacity to dream. It makes your world smaller every single day until the walls are pressing against your chest. I am standing directly between you and that tragic outcome right now. I am not moving out of the way. I refuse to let you walk back into the dark prison of your own perfectionism. But you have to stay where my hand can actually reach you. Do not retreat into the familiar shadows. Do not let the loud noise of the world steal this profound clarity from your tired mind. What comes next is going to sound exactly like the end. My voice will slow down and the words will get shorter. That is not the end of the message. That is just the quiet doorway to the final blessing. The last thing I kept back for you is still resting safely in my hands. It is handed over on the other side of this quiet moment. Stay with me to receive it. The intense teaching is entirely finished now. What is left is just between the two of us. Let all the heavy words rest for a moment. Put the notebook down. I want to speak to you the way a father speaks to his beloved child at the very end of an exhausting day. I am going to lower my voice for this last part. This is no longer strict instruction. This is your personal blessing. I bless the tired mind that has been working overtime to keep everyone else perfectly safe. I bless the hands that have held so many heavy things they forgot how to open up and simply receive. I speak deep peace over your physical body right now. The constant tension in your neck and your shoulders is allowed to melt away. You do not have to stand guard tonight. I am standing guard over your house. You are completely covered. You came into this room carrying a massive shield of perfect preparation. You had convinced yourself that you needed it to survive the brutal world. You are not walking out of this room with that heavy shield. You are walking out with something much lighter and infinitely more powerful. You are walking out with the profound courage to finally take the imperfect step. You will no longer wait for the sky to completely clear before you start walking. You will move forward while your hands are still violently shaking. That is the incredible transformation I have secured for your life today. And it will not stop with your own journey. The people in your house who watch you step into the unknown will learn how to be brave from your beautiful example. You are breaking a generational cycle. I promised you one last thing before we finished our time together. I told you there was a secret I kept until the very end. The person you are waiting to become before you start the work is not coming to rescue you. That flawless version of you does not exist in the future. You build the strong version of yourself by stepping out of the comfortable boat today. That is the only way the immense strength is formed. I have said absolutely everything I came to say. What happens next is not mine to do. You have a profound choice to make before you close your eyes tonight. Right now, you are simply someone who heard a beautiful message. In 30 seconds, you can become someone who declared their own freedom out loud. Those are two very different people. The second person is much harder to defeat in the morning. The second person does not wake up and immediately start questioning if the breakthrough was real. When you write it down where others can read it, you stop being a quiet spectator. You become a living testimony to the hurting people who are scrolling through these words looking for a reason to hope. You become their solid evidence that someone actually made it across the scary finish line. I am not asking you to repay me for this revelation. There is no ledger between us. I am asking because a truth that is spoken out loud becomes much harder for you to abandon tomorrow. Put your hand on this truth and make it permanently yours. Type "I take the step while afraid" in the comments below. Let this place know you stayed to the very end. Say it and step through the wide open door. I am with you in the scary beginning. Walk.